I, excuse me, I want to have a chat about all these stabbings that are happening over the country, but mainly in London. It's mainly these silly bloody postcode gangs fighting over LE or L. What's London? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter really. Over a street, over a postcode, over a certain area. It's just complete bollocks. There's been another lad killed, stabbed. A 14-year-old, right? 14-year-old lad. He's been stabbed. He got knocked off his moped, right? A 14-year-old riding a moped. Knocked off his moped by some blokes in a Mercedes, and he was stabbed. Anybody who follows the current affairs and news and these stabbings and stuff obviously know, right, that the lad on the moped, Jaden, it was up to no good. One, he was riding a moped. He's 14, right? People can turn around and say, oh, it's a shame and everything. Yeah, all right, it's a shame. There's a 14-year-old lad been stabbed dead by 3 blokes in a Merc. We all know that as soon as this comes on, every time you hear of the stabbing, right, and I'm not meaning this to be racist or anything like this, I'm saying it as it is, right? 9 times out of 10, it's been done by a black guy, a black lad or something like that. It happens, right? You can't get away from the fact that it's mainly a black gang culture thing, and it's normally drugs related and crime related, right? And he was on his moped, he's got knocked off his moped, and he's been stabbed while apparently was lying unconscious on the floor. So the big brave hard men in Mercs have done that, and it's, you know, to attack a child is one thing. To attack another bloke is another thing, and to stab him while in the back is another completely thing. But it's been happening now basically since Sadiq Khan got into power into London when he won the mayor race. And people are saying, oh, what can we do? And they're on about it's cuts and it's this and that and all that. When my parents split up, I didn't think about joining a gang and going and selling drugs. And now, granted, right, that were in the 90s. That was in the 90s, and it weren't in the 80s. I'm losing track of time. And I didn't think about going to crime and doing all that and then blaming my parents for splitting up, because that's not how it is. I still went to school, I learnt and all that. You can't just keep blaming everything on something else. You can't blame it on your parents. You can't blame it on your skin colour. You can't blame it on the area you're from. It's you, your own personal thing. You have to get yourself out of the shit and move on. And there's too many people out there who are making excuses for these kids, right? Because I bet even the ones in the Merc who did the stabbing, they were kids, right? I bet they were no older than 20-something, right? And we're always making excuses, but we're blaming the cuts, the austerity cuts. It's got nothing to do with that. Just because there is less police on the streets doesn't mean you should be allowed to just pick up a knife, carry it, and stab people whenever you want. You look at the bloke who got stabbed on the train the other day. He was out on the day out with his 14-year-old son. 14-year-old son, right? Perhaps the 14-year-old son should have been carrying a knife, and then he could have stabbed the bloke who stabbed his dad. It's pathetic. People making excuses for these idiots who are doing it. I mean, the bloke who stabbed the lad on the train, they will make out now that he's got some kind of mental illness, which is just a cop-out, right? It's just a complete embarrassment cop-out. There are people out there with real mental illnesses who do not carry knives, who do not have an attitude. It's just going to be some kind of lawyer excuse to get him off, really, when really he should be just locked up for life. But moving on, right, this could be sorted out quite easily. It could be easily sorted out. I'm not saying we need national service, because we don't need national service, right? But what we do need are boot camps, right? We need boot camps. We need good old-fashioned style boot camps. And I'll tell you something else I seen the other day on the internet. In America, they've got these prisons, and what they do is, they're not a prison, but what they do, they are like a prison. And they get these kids who think they're big and hard, right? And they chuck them in the prison with these blokes. And these blokes, I don't know if they used to be ex-gang members or what. They're dressed up as prisoners, and then you've got the wardens. And they make life hell. And they're actually in their face, right? They get these kids, and I don't know if they're 15, 16 or what. And this black guy was up against this black kid. And he were calling him a bitch, and he was saying this and saying that, and he were right in his face like this. And he was, as he was shouting at him, he was spitting, the kid started to cry. You got you crying now, bitch? This ain't no game on, stuff like that. He's talking like Mr. T. And he weren't having any of it. And then, like he says, do this. And then the prison warden came and said, and he was stuck. He couldn't. And they basically was scaring the shit out of him. And it was brilliant to watch, because these kids, they're carrying tools and knives and stuff, and they all think they're hard, but they're not hard. They're not hard at all. So they put him in this prison, and absolutely brilliant. And then they got another lad, and he was scared, and he was crying and wanted his mum and everything. His mama. He wanted his mama. Well, mama. It ain't mama. It's mum. Or mam. Mama. That's it. So anyway, this is what we need. We need to go out. We need these units of police. And don't give me this that we can't afford them, because you can afford them. If we can have 60 MPs outside the Houses of Parliament looking after Anna Soodbury because she's been shouting her mouth off, and then when somebody shouts back at her, she don't like it. We get these and we go round, right? We hit these gangs and we wipe them out, yeah? We take them off the streets. And then what we do, anybody, all this stop and, you can't just keep stop and searching. Yes, you can. You can stop and search anybody. You've got any reason to stop and search them, stop and search them. Do it. Can I have a look inside your coat? Oh, you've got an 8-inch knife there with a serrated edge. Right, come with me, sonny. You're in the back of this car. We'll just give you a quick pummeling in the back of the head and all, for good measure. And then what you do is you ship them off. We've got these camps, right? These deserted military base camps, right? We turn them into bloody boot camps, right? You get retired army officers. You get retired army prison officers and all this, yeah? Security men, you get them and you put them in these camps. And they're not allowed contact. You get found with a knife on you, you're in there for 3 years. That's it. 3 years. And I tell you what you're allowed. Nothing. You're not allowed no mobile phones. You're not allowed no bloody Sky TV. You're not allowed no stupid bloody pool tables. No fancy food. No human rights. You're in there for punishment. You're in there for punishment, and that's it. And I tell you what, you can have one contact with the phone, with your outside world, probably once a month if you're lucky, and that's if you behave yourself. You just do it. You chuck them in there. You get them breaking rocks. You get them painting coal white. Let's do it. Let's stop messing about, and let's knock this crime out of them. And you start, and you go through, right, well, this is, you'll say, this is the worst part of the crime. So you get your officers, you go in and you raid that area. They know where they all are. They know where they're situated and what houses are theirs. You go in, you raid them, you drag them out, you chuck them in the old white variety, and you get them into court, and you fast process them, and you get them in a boot camp. Oh, I tell you where else you could put them. There's deserted islands in the north of Scotland. Get them on there. Get them on a boat. Get them on there. Easy done. You don't even need any bloody housing up there. Just make them fend for themselves. Let them have Lord of the Flies up there. You can just chuck them out. Chuck them on the beach. Get up there. That's it. You're done. Life. Murderers, life. Get them on an island in Scotland, right? Easy done. You have a boat patrolling it, going round it, just so some bloody go in there. Any helicopters that land over there, you get it, you shoot them out. It's easy. It ain't rocket science, this ain't. It just ain't rocket science. It's easy done. But you've got Sadiq Khan, whose lazy attitude of saying, oh, cuts of austerity has made us have to cut the police force. We've got loads of... No, you don't need more in theory. You need 20 coppers, send them in. 50 coppers, send them in. Get them out. Put them in the vans. Cuff them up. Get them into the fast courts. Right, you've been found. Joe Bloggs, you've been found guilty. You had a knife. You had so much thing. 3 years, boot camp, get gone. We'll see you in 3 years. None of this out in a year for good behaviour. None of that. 3 years is 3 years. I wouldn't mind my taxes and that going to pay for that. I'd rather my taxes go to pay for that than sending money in benefit aid to bloody China and sod China because they're not buying any Land Rovers now. Their things have gone down 50%, so we're not sending no bloody Land Rovers out there. Right, so we're losing 5,000 jobs at Land Rover. Sodom, cut the aid over, cut the overseas aid, get these boot camps set up and sort this problem out. It's easy. I just can't believe that. And then you've got Diane Abbott going, oh, it's because he's black. It's because no, it's not because he's black. It's not because he's black at all. It's because he's carrying an 8-inch knife going round stabbing people with it. And I would say this to whites as well, Chinese and anybody. You get caught with a knife on you, you're going to boot camp, son. Daughter, missus, girl, whatever. You're going. We'll have boot camps for women as well, because some of them are just as bloody bad. Drugs, protection rackets, anything like that. And I don't care, right? I don't care if it's a 10-year-old bombing around on a grifter. If you don't know what a grifter is, Google it. Yeah? Do it. Get them inside. I'm fed up with people making excuses. I'm fed up where you dare walk out and because you think you might be stabbed because you accidentally looked at somebody in the wrong attitude, or you're just going out on a drink and a night out and somebody's going to come up and try and nick your iPhone or your Galaxy. Why? Why should we live in fear of that? Because politicians seem to think it's okay that because it's not politically correct or you might offend somebody. I'll offend somebody. I'll offend these bloody politicians because they're all crap. They're all rubbish. They all live in a world of their own. David Lammy, what's he all about? He hasn't got a clue. He hasn't got an absolute Scooby's what's going off, really. As long as you don't call somebody black or something like that, he's quite happy. But it ain't. It's a disease. It's a disease, and it's not just down to blacks. It's down to bloody whites and Chinese and anybody. They come here, Albanians, Lithuanians, they're all in it. Round them up. You do something wrong, right? You've all got a chance in life. I've only ever done something wrong once with the police, not the police really. I went and put a parking ticket, put the money in, but I didn't realise the pound coin had dropped straight through. That's the only time I've ever had anything wrong with the law, right? Because I thought I'd paid £1.20 or something, and I didn't. It was just a pound, 20p. So anyway, so that's by the by. I'm not walking around with a bloody knife or a gun, right? So you've all got the same chance in life. When you're born, you've all got the same chance. You can either go left or right. Or in my case, I went straight, and I didn't do anything wrong. I went out. I went to school. I'm not the most intelligent person out there. Anybody who knows me will know that. I'm not the most intelligent. But I went out there and I've worked hard and I've got a house and I've got a car and a van and it's all paid for. Right? You've all got that start in life. And don't give me this crap about deprived areas and child poverty. What is child poverty? Child poverty is when the parent can't be asked to go and get a job. I've worked all over the country, travelling down to Caerphilly and up to Newcastle and stuff to earn a wage. If I can do it, others can do it. I'm working 12-hour nights, 12-hour days. It's part of the job. It's called life. These lot, they see these bloody superstar footballers and with the bloody fancy clothes and the crappy bloody cars, all camouflaged up with stupid spinning wheels, and they all want it, but they don't want to earn it. They just want to take it. They don't want to go out there and actually work for something. So my suggestion is to Sadiq Khan and David Lammy and Diane Abbott and Anna Sudbury and all the other pricks in the Houses of Parliament that are on over £74,000 a year plus expenses. Come and talk to the real people out here. And we'll tell you what to do. Boot camps. Boot camps. Get them into bloody boot camps and sort it out. Fed up with them, keep reading about them. My bloody phone keeps going off and I can't do this while that's going. So on the strength of that, yeah, it ain't rocket science, is it, to sort this mess out? It ain't rocket science one bit. Just people putting up obstacles. Because if the problem is solved, if the problem is actually solved and sorted, they won't have a job. That's probably what it's more about. If they can just keep talking about it and not doing anything about it. It's like this cure for cancer, isn't it? They reckon out there is an actual cure for cancer. And, but why cure it when you can treat it? All these pharmaceutical companies, they don't want to cure cancer, because if they cure cancer, there won't be any money to be made. And this is the same situation with these pillocks walking around with knives and stabbing each other. Why cure the disease when you can just treat it? You can talk about it. You can still get paid. Just get out there and sort it. Ladies.